Pranam to the Lotus Feet of Bhagavan, dear brothers and sisters. On my way to this place, someone curiously asked me, why don't you spend some time on questions and answers, as it was long back we had such a session. Therefore, if any one of you have any questions, please. We'll discuss questions and then proceed to the topic. Yes, any questions, please? First, the questioner himself is absent. Yesterday, they were telling me. Anybody, please? Any questions? No? Pardon? How to come close to God? Good. Thank you very much. How to come close to God? A very good question. This question, in the initial stage, means one thing. At a later stage, it takes us to a different dimension altogether. So there are two steps as we discuss this subject, how to come close to God. Initially, how to come close to God, the first step. To the extent I know, recalling what Bhagavan said earlier, the first requirement to come close to God is to love Him unconditionally. Though it seems to be easy love, but to love anyone unconditionally is very difficult. When it is difficult at the human level, much more at the divine level. Because we have our own conditions at every stage. Because our life is conditioned. Our mind is conditioned. The mind is full of desires, aspirations, ambitions. Under these circumstances, to develop love which is unconditional is a Herculean task. It's not that simple as it is said. And to love God unconditionally is much more. Because we come to God with some conditions. We have got our own limitations and we want Him to follow our program. Someone was asking me yesterday, is Swami leaving on 16th? He says there is some function on 18th. Is he going? Oh, perhaps he must have given the date of departure for Swami, when he should go. Oh, I see. I don't know. Later I met someone, they said, it seems he is not going. Oh, very good. How can we say unconditional? When we give our own programs, our own schedules to Swami, what do we mean by unconditional love? What is it? Therefore, my friends, the first and foremost requirement to come close to God is this unconditional love. Then the second point to come close to God is to have total faith in Him. But the tragedy is, our faith is shaken to the bottom if anything happens against our wish. If anything happens against our choice. If anything happens that we do not like, the faith is shaken to the bottom. Therefore, the faith is also not that strong as it should be to openly admit. So, this is also difficult. Unconditional love first, 2, firm faith or strong faith, unshakable faith. And 3, following His message or following his teachings. Simple example. The followers of Christ followed what the Lord said. Arjuna followed what Krishna said. They did not simply hear the lecture and didn't give any certificate to their master for his eloquent exposition. Oh Lord, how nice your talk is. They didn't say that. They followed scrupulously, strictly, whatever they heard from their divine master. Therefore, listening to his word, listening to his message, and practicing in life accordingly is the third point which is necessary to come close to God. Number 4, being a teacher, I am telling you in the form of points. I think you can understand it and also sympathize with me at the same time. The 4th point is that we have to act in such a way that we accept whatever he gives. Whatever he gives, acceptance. In life, we have got so much of a problem. In life, so much of a tension. The life is full of complaints. The reason is we are not prepared to accept what God gives us. It may be sweet or it may be even bitter. One should be ready to accept. Total acceptance is another point to come close to God. So, at one stage, how to come close to God at one stage, initial stage, these are a few of the many basic requirements. Now we go to the higher level, how to come close to God, next level, because the question is very good question, giving us wide scope to talk about. I really thank her, appreciate her question. What is that higher level? This file is a bit away from me. How to come close to that? Either file has to come close to me or I should go close to the file. That's all. Meaning, either Muhammad should go to the mountain or mountain should go to the Muhammad. There's no other way. So, how to come close, meaning there is a distance between me and the object to which I want to come close to. If I want to come close to that podium, I must go there. There is some distance between me and the podium. And it takes 2 seconds to go there. There is a time. So, time and space are the 2 factors involved when you think of an object or a person or a place to which you want to come close to. I think I'm clear. On the other hand, how to come close to myself? If I put this question, sir, would you tell me how I should be close to myself? If I ask that question, what do you say? I do not know the answer to your question, but I know only one thing, I should not have been here to hear you. How to come close to myself? What do I mean? I think I am the body. I think I am the mind. I think I am the intellect. But myself is beyond the 3. Just as one wears the banyan, the shirt and the coat above, the self is covered by the intellect, mind and the body. So these covers should be taken away. These envelopes, these sheets, these membranes, layers should be removed. Something like onion peeling. Onion has got so many peelings. Come on, remove them one after one. Likewise, when we remove the peelings, the first being the body, the second being the mind, and third being the intellect, then we come to the basic self. That is in you. So how to come close to God? The self in me is God. The self in me is no other than God. Then why do I go to a temple? To know that God in the temple is in me. That's why I go there. Why trouble? Because I am not learning until I go and take the trouble. Why long queues? Unless my body strains, I am not going to understand it. So all our temple going, all our rituals, all our practices are only to see God within ourselves. Nothing but the self. Therefore, this train we have to undergo. Therefore, my friends, why do we go to a guru? There is a great demand for gurus nowadays. We find every guru has at least 50,000 disciples. As we watch TV, television, we find every guru is very, very busy. Very, very busy. And the number is ever increasing. Followers are increasing. Because they follow the guru, but they don't follow themselves. I have to follow myself, not anybody. I follow you, but I don't follow myself within me. Therefore, how to come close to God is to feel, experience God within. How? By growing above the body. How to grow above the body? Simple example. By not being mindful about it. By not being mindful about it. What do I mean by that? Some people are extra cautious. I find some people carry with them a small mirror and a comb, the face powder and lipstick. When there's sudden announcement, 10 minutes to go, you'll have safe landing. Thank you for flying with us. Thank you. The moment they hear the announcement, immediately open. Take out the mirror. Good. Very conscious of the body. I'm not saying it's wrong, no. I'm not saying no. What I mean is identification of the body, what it means. What it means. Whenever we go to any mall or any cafeteria or any holiday inn, as we come in, as we get out, we find huge mirrors there on the walls. We immediately see, okay, how am I? Good. As if the mirror is meant for me. I don't leave the place. To purchase an article, I took 10 minutes. To come out of the mirror, it takes half an hour. Because I love myself. This is what body attachment is. To be conscious always. Some people are very conscious of their weight. Like, why do you look at me? Have I put on my weight? No, I look at you because how foolish you are, that's all. So this kind of consciousness, aware, is what we call body identification. It is difficult to get out of it. The second, one has to get out of the identification with the mind, which is more difficult. Because it is the mind that plays the whole drama of life in the name of ego. If no one says Sai Ram to me, I don't feel like having my lunch. Meaning I am not recognized. Why should I lead an unrecognized life? On the other hand, if everyone says Sai Ram, how are you? Good. So I am something. So some extra food also. So this kind of ego, identified with the mind, ego and the mind, so difficult to grow beyond that. And third comes the intellect. It's equally difficult to grow beyond the intellect. Because intellect goes on pointing out other mistakes and not my mistakes. See that? He is bad, how good. But you are much worse than those two. The intellect is always ready to point out mistakes. The intellect is always, as if it thinks a supervisor or an inspector or an auditor. But how about your own audit, self-audit? Audit. Therefore, the intellect also takes us away from the reality, the self. The body identification is taking me away from the experience of the self. Identification with the ego is also taking farther and farther from the self. The intellect kicks me out of the self. Because the intellect justifies whatever you do. Why are you late? Sir, there's some work in the hostel. There's no work actually speaking. Why you got low marks? The teacher did not teach me this lesson. And why you got low marks? I was suffering from fever that morning. Meaning justification of everything. Even the faults and mistakes, even more. This is the job of the intellect, which it takes us farther away from the experience of the self. All of you must have heard the name of Sarada Mai. Sarada Mai is the consort of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And Sarada Mai once said, a true seeker, a true aspirant will have no time. He is completely, totally, absolutely busy with his own sadhana. He is not bothered about anybody. A seeker is so busy. And one disciple asked her, Mother, would you clarify? She said, a seeker is bothered to clean himself, to purify himself. Self-audit, how to remove my own mistakes, my own psychology. They're so busy in cleansing of the one's own self. It never gets indulged in cleaning others or purifying others. It is not our job. So Sarada Mai says, if you are a true seeker, you will never find fault with anybody. You will never say you are wrong. First you know you are wrong. That's what Sarada Mai says. That's what all philosophers say that. I don't think we are more than them. Therefore, my friends, it is not that easy to go or to grow above the body, to grow little above the mind and the intellect. Because these three have taken us away from the self. So how to come close to God? Remove the first physical level. Outgrow that. The second, outgrow the psychological level. And three, discriminatory intellectual level. Then you are that. That's all. You are that. A book is written by Nisargam. I am that. I am that. Tattvamasi. I am that. When do you say, Swami Nisargam said, I am that? When do you say, I am that? Then once I know I am not this, then I will know I am that. What is this? Body, mind and intellect. What is that? Self. So when once I know I am not this, then I will know I am that. Tattvamasi. Vedanta Mahavakya. So So how to come close to God is to grow these three levels of identification by the path of inquiry. How to grow beyond the body? Is to have extra dresses? No. How to grow beyond the mind? More power, more money? No. How to grow above the intellect? To have more degrees? No. Meaning, not this, not this. There is a path of inquiry, or what we call the theory of negation. Simple example. Here is the file. Am I the file? No. File is mine, but I am not the file. Papers are mine, but I am not the paper. Pen is mine, but I am not the pen. Therefore, this path of inquiry will help us to know that I am not the body, that I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. Finally, you don't say anything. Why? I am that. When you are that, you are no more. When glass of water is emptied into the well, can you collect the glass of water once again? No. Similarly, when once you know that I am that, I does not exist. Now what is present? Only that. I is not there. Because the I-ness is gone by the moment you experience that I am that. Only that. I am not. I am not. Only that. Then where are you? How are you? That is this. The so-called this is nothing but that only. The so-called these are nothing but that only. So this, these, those are nothing but that only. Ishavasyam idagam sarvam yatkincha jagatchan jagat. There's one Ishopanishat. Ishavasyam idagam sarvam yatkincha jagatchan jagat. Cherat chiktena bhunjidha magurakkasya siddhanam. This Isha Upanishad says, it is only that which exists. Others do not. Others don't, that's all. Only that. Ishavasyam. Idagam sarvam, the whole thing, all pervading, is that only. In other words, at the normal level, we have three. One is Jiva, individual. Second is Deva, God. Third is Jagat, the world. I, the individual, Jiva, God, Deva, Jagat, the creation. Three are there usually. But actually speaking, only one. That what you think, three. What you think, three are not three. There's only one. The same one is you. The same one is that in you. The same one is that in which you are living. Nothing separate. This is what we call how to come close to God by the path of inquiry through the theory of negation. Thank you very much for your lovely question once again. Any more, please? Thank you, sir. Very good question. Is Guru necessary to reach Almighty? I repeat once again. Is Guru necessary to reach Almighty? Few illustrations as given by Bhagavan in his discourses. You want to go to Bombay, or you want to go to New York or Moscow. What do? You take a map. In the West, they have road maps also. They see the map. Turn left, turn right over there, right over there, turn to left, right over there. I see. Then they tell you also, road map clearly. So that you learn misguided. Road map. That map is necessary to reach your destination, or else you cannot. Similarly, destination is realization. Destination is the experience. Destination is ultimate. So, to know that ultimate, to experience that ultimate which is already there, which neither comes nor goes, just as you need road map, you need another road map in the spiritual path by name Guru. Sadguru is the road map who tells you in which direction you should go, in which path you should tread to experience that self. That's one point. The second, you go to a city for the first time. You do not know what is present and what not. Somebody told me, you want to see in a day, impossible. You want to see the city, you need at least 1 week. The Mexico City, such a beautiful, very big city, Mexico City. They just took me around the main road. I saw that. I'm very happy. They took me to some places, very nice. I said, is that all? Thank you. No. You have not seen even 1/10 of it. You need to spend here at least 1 week to see whole of the Mexico City. How do I know? Because that man said. The one who was with me all through told me you have not seen anything. It needs 1 week. Or else I do not know. I thought that I saw everything. But nothing I saw. Similarly, there is another place named São Paulo in Brazil. São Paulo, I thought, I know, I have seen enough. No. There's so many museums, so many things there. I did not see them all. I thought that I saw, oh fine. That man said, no, this is not all. Only a minimum you have seen. So, to know to what extent you know, there should be somebody to tell you that you do not know. Because you think I know. The tragedy of life is to think that I know when I actually do not know. And here Master will tell you, "Arey fool, you think you know. Please know that you do not know." That's what Master tells you. Because you don't, that's what Guru's job is. You don't know that you don't know. That is the tragedy of life. Therefore, Master, what shall I do? First I will empty you. Empty you. That's what Bhagavan does. Those people who think they know, first you will empty them. Make them know that they do not know. And make them also know whatever little they know is incorrect. Incorrect. Then he will understand that he is not worth anything. You will empty him. Then he fills that empty mind or the empty cup of your heart with ambrosia or amrit or elixir of the divine teaching. Unless one empty oneself, you cannot have the divine elixir. It's not possible. Amrit, the nectar, one should empty. It's very difficult to empty because of the ego problem once again. There are some people, whatever you say, they will say, I know. Oh, I see. This is what Gita says, I know. This is what Bible said, I read. Because they don't want to admit that they do not know because of the ego problem. Children may be knowing more than what we know. Why not? How do you think that you know more than others? Therefore, my friends, what Guru does is to empty you first. Empty. Then he will fill it up with that divine nectarous message. That first role of a Guru is to show you the path. The second role of the Guru is to make you experience the self. The role of the Guru is, third one, to empty you first and then fill it up with the divine nectarous message. And fourth point is this, according to Ramana Maharshi. How is it that you come across Guru, not everybody? Such a big population, global population is so big. Crores everywhere. But all don't have the privilege of facing a Guru. All are not blessed with the physical presence of a Guru. All are not blessed. This question is well answered by Ramana Maharshi. What he said was, if you have deep desire for God, if you have got deep yearning, loving, anxiety, caring, concern, looking forward to God, He comes in the form of a Sadguru. God Himself comes down in the form of Sadguru to you. You don't go to Him. Why? You are not capable of selecting a Guru. We are not capable of selecting even correct vegetables in the vegetable market. How can we select a Guru? To think I have selected my Guru means Himalayan ego, he needs 1,000 lives to be normal. We are not capable of finding out a Guru. No. It is only Guru out of his mercy he should come to us. Then you may ask me, how is it that I have come here? He has not come to me. Swami has not come to me, I have come to Swami. What do you mean? You may say that. My answer is this. You might have come to Swami, but Swami made you to come here. Swami made you to come here, or else you would not have come. Why? There are many people who wanted to come but could not. There are many who never wanted to come, they are first people to come. Because he has got his own schedule. So when he comes to our life, depends upon our own love for God. Therefore, the summum bonum of what I would like to convey to you is, our love for God will make him come down in the form of Sadguru in front of us. Yes. Then what happens? He will direct you. I am the Guru. I want you to see me in you. A Sadguru wants us to experience him within ourselves. A Sadguru will never say, I am available in the evening between 4 to 5. Then he is a revenue officer. A Sadguru will never say, I am available between 10 to 12, a police officer. He is always in you, he is always with you, in you, above you, below you, with you, everywhere. Then where is the question of seeking an appointment with him? Therefore, my friends, appearance of the Guru is in response to your prayers, and the Guru in front only to inform you, to experience him within you, and finally understand that he is none else other than the divine. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma. The Guru himself is Supreme God. That is the final stage of experience. This is the other aspect of the role of a Guru in our life. Thank you, sir. Any more questions, please? Yes?
How about those individuals who are sincere in their desire for divinity, but come from traditions that have no Guru?
Oh, I'm not. Anybody will tell me, I'm not able to get you. I'm not able to get you. Shall I? Yeah, just wait. Sir, would you come here, please? Please follow our question. You come here, speak in the mic.
కాలు బాగాలేదు
Huh?
కాలు బాగాలేదు
Yes, he will come. No, nobody. He will help you. Bob, you might please help him. I understand. So sorry. I meant to be excused. Rather, Vairu?
రాదు
Ayyo, Narayana. One of you can follow and
ఆస్పంది
ask from there. And that's okay.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Oh, perfect.
Okay. I said there are people who are sincere in their desire for divinity, but who come from traditions that are lacking gurus. And a rabbi or a pastor or a priest don't serve as gurus. How about them?
Good question. Yes. I'm sorry that I made you walk.
That's all right.
But I'm glad that I could see you close and also hear you well. Thank you. It's a nice question. The question is, there are many people who have rituals and they perform rituals under the guidance of priests and who are really worshipful and genuine, devoted, but yet do not meet a guru. How about them, she said. Very, very good question. Somebody said to Swami, when Swami was speaking on Guru, somebody said, "Oh, Bhagwan, I have no Guru. I have no Guru." Of course, Bhagwan is so great, he didn't say that is your problem. He didn't say that. And Bhagwan's response is, if you have no Guru, God Himself will be your Guru. If you have no Guru in a physical form outside, God Himself will be your Guru. Truly speaking, the inner self is Guru. Atma, the consciousness, is Guru. That's the reason why it is said, follow the master. Here the master meaning the self or consciousness. In Success I Speaks, Volume 1, where Bhagavan says, chariot is the body. Individual is Arjuna. The charioteer, Krishna, is God within. So, the chariot of the human body is driven by the charioteer Krishna, the Guru himself, for the benefit of the individual soul, Arjuna. Therefore, God Himself will play the role of a Guru. Yes. Am I clear? That's good. Any other question, please? Yes.
Mic or?
Oh, anyway, yes, you can even shout.
Okay.
Why not? Welcome. Come, boy. Come on. Let everybody hear your melodious voice. Oh, yeah, why not? You're a boy.
Simon, Anil, the question is, in an interview with Al Drucker, Baba said one time, people should spend, like a good devotee should spend like 75% of their time in self-observation. Yeah? Which is like looking at whichever where it has to be put awareness in, we still carry darkness and an end. Then people say, no, I just focus on the light. I don't want to know about all that other stuff. So enlighten me about that one, what you and Baba think about it.
Good. My friends, all of you could follow the question, I'm sure. It's a question of transition. It is a question of evolution. It is a question of a long journey. In the spiritual journey, I'm thrilled by experiences at one stage. When I go further along my spiritual journey, I'm very much surprised by watching the mystery of nature. I go further and further. I feel very much excited when I experience the self, which is nothing but the reflection of the cosmic mind. When I still further grow, I will understand I don't need to go anywhere because I am where I was. There's nothing to reach. There's nothing to gain. There's nothing to attain. I am what I am. I'm there already. Therefore, some people, I don't want, I love him. Very good, you may not want it. But you are that. Whether you want it or not. You are that because the spiritual journey will take you there. Simple example. You sit in a train. It's running fast. I don't want. No, the train stops here to get over. So it's not a question of I don't want. It's a question of spiritual evolution. Tasting higher and higher level of awareness. Simple example. When we first come to Baba, first come to him, what is it that thrills us? Thrilling experience. First when we come to him. Some system, some order, some discipline excites us. Because we are missing discipline, order everywhere. Life is indisciplined and disorderly. We find some order, some discipline. That thrills us. Then what is it that thrills us? Silence. Because we don't get silence anywhere. We are not silent. We are not silent within ourselves. We don't want anybody also to be silent because we love to disturb them. Therefore, there is no silence. That thrills us. Then what is it that excites us? The very darshan of Bhagavan. I see. Why? The very darshan of Bhagavan made me forget myself. Forget where I am. Forget my problems. Forget my ailments. Forget my position. Forget, my nativity, everything else. Wow. I'm lost in ecstasy. That thrills me. Then what further? Let me do some service. Let me do something. Let me do some sadhana, spiritual practice. And as we take this practice, the individual or community or work or just meditate, whatever, that gives us great satisfaction. And finally, you are the bliss. You are not separate from bliss. That's all the different stations or different stopover. Some of the airlines want you to get over at different places. The Bombay, the Frankfurt and Chicago, and then get another flight, where some take you to straight. Therefore, this is an airline which wants us to change at different places to reach the destination. Anybody else, please? Yes. Oh, please come. I think so.
Swami says that to search gurus, you don't have to dig in many places.
Swami said, you don't have to go to many places.
No, you don't have to dig.
Oh, dig? Yes.
Around to search many gurus. I consider that that is true because that's what I feel. But I heard and I see devotees, they say from Baba, that go some places else and say that there are very nice people that embrace and do this and do that and good jobs too for society. And that is a question mark for me because I don't want to judge others. I won't do it myself, but I feel a little bit trembling in my mind about it.
Good.
Give me an answer.
Yes, please. Thank you. I could hear you well. You have got a very good voice. Good. Now the point is this, my friends. People visit so many gurus. And Baba gave one example. If you want to dig a well, dig at the same place, deeper and deeper, until you get water. Instead, if you go on digging at every place, 2 feet here, 3 feet there, 5 feet there, the whole area will be full of pits. No water anywhere from. That's what she conveyed. What Baba said is correct. We don't have to dig so many pits. There's only one. Come on, dig deeper and deeper until you get the waters of benediction. Until you draw the fountain of bliss. Until you come across the water current of realization. That's one. Number 2, it is the weakness of the mind or vagaries of the mind or tendency of the mind to get dissatisfied as often as possible. Mind finds satisfaction in dissatisfaction. There are some people with a long face. Why? They have plenty of money. Children have settled well. Their health is okay. They don't have to get admitted to any hospital. Comfortable, but still long face. Why? They are happy in unhappiness. They draw satisfaction out of dissatisfaction. I don't blame anybody. It is the nature of the mind. We have to blame our mind. Always finding fault with somebody. Always declaring oneself, I am correct. You are always wrong. This is the mischief of the mind, monkey mind. The mind is same with everybody. Nobody says, my mind is a lion. Unless he is a pig, nobody would say that. Mind is a monkey. Everybody's mind. Nobody can say, my mind is perfect, it's my monkey. No, I say. But I keep you at a respectable distance. Because of your monkey mind only, you are speaking like that. Or else you won't speak. Somebody said, Anil Kumar, I have no ego. Oh, if you say I, that is enough of ego. Better you go, I say. Therefore, my friends, the point is, we go on changing gurus. We go on changing our pilgrim centers of visit. We go on changing our deities because mind seeks variety. Mind seeks novelty. Mind wants something new. So it's not my mistake, it's a mistake of mind. So when once I understand that mind wants something new, I can tell stop nonsense. No. I should also tell my mind, look here. You are drawing water out of that tap there, near the stores. But the mind says, let me go to that tap near the canteen. And go. Drinks the same water. It may be the tap here, or tap there, or tap near Ganesha. Same water. Some taps may function, some taps may leak. That's a different thing. So, the same water, you see, there may be a number of taps located in different places. Similarly, there may be many gurus, but they convey the same message. What is the message? Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything. Be relaxed. Don't think anything. Be thoughtless. Be steady. That's what the teaching of everybody. But because I want something new, the mind wants me to go. Therefore, my friends, when we go to the cause of this variety, then I will understand. Somebody said, It seems that some person here, Mr. Anil Kumar, who will tell you about your future? I said, I am not interested in my future. I am not at all interested in my future. Why? If I come to know I am going to the president of this country in future, I will get spoiled in the present. Because president, future president, cannot be normal. And if I come to know that my future is going to be horrible, end up in tragedy, I will fall sick today itself. Therefore, I am not interested. Because I believe life is in the present. Life is in the moment. Life is existence right now, here, not tomorrow or yesterday. Therefore, my friends, then once we know this changing pattern, this dancing doll, this kind of seeking variety, cosmopolitan nature, is nothing but the quality of the mind, it will understand the game. Then it stops. When I go with the mind, it will take me everywhere. It will take me everywhere. Wasting my time, wasting my money, losing little mental peace I was enjoying till then. Somebody said, Anil Kumar, I visited one pilgrim center. So difficult to reach there. You may die within the next moment. You have to walk along the edge. So difficult. I said, to die you don't need to go that long. That far. You can die comfortably here. By speaking about your death experience, you are also creating tension in me. Please don't share this experience with anybody. Therefore, my friends, we have got to understand that it is only game of the mind, then the mind will not act like that. It will be proper. But if I go with the mind, well, it will take everywhere, anywhere, and end up nowhere. Therefore, how to know it is the nature of the mind dancing? By creating a distance between you and your mind. Is it possible? Yes. The secret of meditation is, the purpose of meditation is to create a distance between you and the mind. When the distance is more and more, you will get out of the influence of your mind. Then you will experience the reality, the self, I am that. Am I clear? Thank you. Somebody said, yes? Oh. Please explain how is God? Oh. Very good. Very good. I tell you, any explanation is not complete. Any explanation is not satisfying. Any explanation is not rewarding. Why? It has come to the experience. God is an experience, but not an explanation. I can explain the mic, the recorder, all these objects can be explained. But there are some that cannot be explained. Love, explain. Love is love, that's all. Explain. I can love you, you can love me, that's all. Love is an experience but not an explanation. So God is an experience. God is realization. And God is not an explanation. Number two, anything explained loses its flavor because no explanation could ever completely, 100% in depth do any justice. Simple example. I go on speaking about Taj Mahal. The Taj Mahal in Agra, one of the 7 wonders of the world. Oh, Agra is like this, Agra is like that, Agra. They said, please stop it. Let me go and see. Would you please stop? Let me go and see. Because any number of pages written, any hours of exposition or explanation or presentation or photographs will never satisfy you until you go and see Taj Mahal. Or supposing I speak of milkshake. Milkshake is not very well in use in India. Many people don't know what it is. Supposing I speak of milkshake. Oh wow, it's like, please, instead of wasting your breath, please get me one glass. I've experienced what milkshake is. That's what Ramakrishna Paramahamsa did to Swami Vivekananda. When Swami Vivekananda went on arguing, questioning, Paramahamsa said, keep quiet. He just touched his head. That very touch made him experience the divine. And we have Bhagavan, Ramana Maharshi. His very look will make you experience the divine. Lord Krishna, his very conversation made Arjuna experience the divine. Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, the look, word, gesture, thought, all will help us to experience it. 3 in 1. The talk of Krishna, the look of Ramana Maharshi, and the touch of Ramakrishna, all the 3 are in Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, such that we can experience. So therefore, my friends, God is an experience but not an explanation. Then another thing is this: you can explain anything different from you. I can say, do you know that? Yes, I can tell you that. Do you know him? I can tell him. How to speak about myself to myself? Then I am only there to whom I am going to speak. Supposing in this hall nobody else, I am here. Explain yourself. Supposing I say explain, I go on speaking. Then somebody will bring a psychiatrist to me, get me completely examined, thoroughly. Being in Puttaparthi at concessional price also. Therefore, my friends, there is nothing like explaining myself to myself. Because I am that, nobody else, there is no second. When there are 2, I can speak out myself. Because in some interviews they ask you, yes, would you say something about yourself? Because there is somebody to hear you. If I just speak to myself, what will happen? Something wrong. Therefore, explanation is the product, is a communication, is a vehicle. When there are 2, I explain that. But when there is only 1, there is no explanation. There is only experience. Thank you very much for your early question. It made us think deep enough on the subject. I really appreciate the question. Now is the time up. Thank you for your nice questions. And I tell you, my friends, you are helping us a lot by putting these questions, because all these questions will go to the website for the benefit of the world of Sai devotees, whoever browse the website. SaiWisdom.com. SaiWisdom.com is the website that carries our weekly talks. There all these questions and answers appear, and all will be benefited, and we are getting response from many of our devotees world over who say that they really enjoy these things. For information, later they will also come in a book form by the courtesy of our Sri Sathya Sai Books and Publication Trust. So, you are doing great service by putting questions. First service to me, and service to your friends and service to number of devotees elsewhere. Thank you very much. God bless you. Sai Ram. Asato Satgamaya Tamaso Jyotirgamaya Mrityungamaya Amrutangamaya Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu Shanti 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 Jai Bolo Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai Bolo Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai Bolo Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba Ji ki